So in this video, we've got access to the Call of Duty Vanguard Alpha, and we're going to be going over what are the best settings for this game, because some of these settings will stay the same, some will change when the full game does release. So we're just going to go over what are the best settings to use for the Vanguard Alpha at the moment. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns, weapon comparisons, and overall Warzone or Call of Duty content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We do post extra content over there, and we actually will be posting gameplay on that channel as well. So if you do want to see any gameplay from this game, make sure you subscribe over there as well. Now let's go through the settings. So we're going on controller settings here because this is only available on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Unfortunately, we're only playing this on PlayStation 4 right now because that is what we had before we switched to PC, and we never managed to get a hold of a PlayStation 5 since then. So when it comes to horizontal, vertical stick sensitivity, 5, 6 or 7 is usually going to be the best options. In most Call of Duty games, that's the way it usually works all the time. So whatever you use in Warzone should translate over pretty well into this as well. Now the ADS sensitivity multiplier here should be 0.8 or maybe 0.9. That is what I would use, but there isn't one for like a high zoom optic, for example. So this is going to be for every single optic you use. So definitely keep that in mind when you are adjusting these settings, and they could add additional settings into this game when the full game does launch. Button set layout, I've got this to default. Sometimes people like to use tactical so they can slide with the right analog stick, but personally I just like having it set to default. Then I don't usually flip my triggers with the bumper buttons, but you can do that if you really want to here. Invert Look, you definitely don't want to do that. Aim response curve you'd want as dynamic. It's just going to make it snappier when you're transitioning between targets. Controller vibration, you definitely want to switch this off. You don't want your controller getting in the way of you hitting your shots or not hitting your shots. Target aim assist is for hip firing. You definitely want to have aim assist whilst you're hip firing as well, so you do want that on. Then for aim assist mode, I have this set to standard, and then for aim down sight aim assist, you want that on as well, because you're not going to be as precise without aim assist on a controller. Airborne mantle, I have set to manual. You don't want to automatically mantle onto things. That's just really annoying in any game, but I'd still imagine if you're close to an object and you hit the jump button, you're going to mantle on it for no reason. Automatic tac sprint is what I like to use. I use this for Warzone. I would also use this for Vanguard as well, because it runs off the same engine, so tac sprint's going to be very similar to the way it works inside Warzone. Sprint cancels reload, I don't have that set on. ADS and melee from weapon mount, I have that set to standard. Weapon mount movement exit, I have that set to standard. Weapon mount exit delay, I have that set to short, because you don't want to be delayed when you're trying to get off of the weapon mount. You want to get off of it straight away. Depleted ammo weapon switch, I usually have this turned off because sometimes you have a pistol or an SMG, you want to move around a lot quicker with that weapon, even if it doesn't have any ammo left in that weapon. And you can obviously switch your weapon automatically yourself, so there's no reason to have this set on. Slide behavior, you do want to set that as tap, regardless of what controller you have or anything. Tap allows you to tac sprint and slide cancel so much easier. It doesn't matter what your kind of controller setup is. Aim down sight behavior, you want hold. Equipment behavior, you want to have as hold. Steady aim behavior, you want hold as well. Interact and reload behavior, you want to do prioritize reload, because you want to make sure your gun's reloaded so you can get in a gunfight instead of prioritizing picking up something else, for example. Now we're actually getting into some really cool settings in my opinion. This is something I wish actually comes to Warzone, because here we have a bunch of ADS, low zoom, high zoom, and pretty much every zoom in between multipliers. So this is actually pretty in depth when it comes to zoom levels and what you want your ADS sensitivity to be. For low zoom, I would stick to something like 80, because you want to be really precise at close range. So 80, and then even up to a 3x, I would go with 80. Then when it comes to 4x, I would leave it as normal, because you want to make sure you can snap onto targets a bit better at those longer ranges. When it gets to the further and further ranges, you want to put this higher and higher, because you'll notice that if you have it set too low at long range, when you try to swipe across your screen, maybe hit a snipe for example, or anything like that, it's going to be really, really slow, and you want to be able to make sure you can drag across the enemies, especially if you're using sniper rifles or any kind of similar weapons to that. So I would have anything above a 5x zoom maybe set to 1.1. So that is the way I would set this up exactly, because for most assault rifles or SMGs, you won't be using anything above a 3x zoom optic anyway. I would set this somewhere in between, and then after that, definitely a 1.1. ADS sense multiplier, I just set that to normal, and then ADS sense multiplier steady aim. So this is just going to scale with all this other stuff. Otherwise, you're going to get a multiplier on that as well, which will make it either much faster or much slower, which you don't really need. You want your aim to be very consistent. Next, we've got graphics settings. Now, this is going to be very different to what would be available on PC. So there's not going to be a lot of settings here. And obviously, PlayStation 5 might have a bit more settings as well. But for the standard player playing on PlayStation, when it comes to brightness settings, I think 60 is the best. It's been the best for most Call of Duty games. It works well in Cold War and Warzone as well. Color customization, I usually do have target interface set to both, and then I do have the Dirtanopia color palette, and I just feel like that's a bit easier to see for myself, and it does make the game look a lot nicer as well. Color filters, I wouldn't put any of these on. You can use them if you think it makes the game look a bit better, but personally, I don't think it's going to help. Camera movement, I have this set to default. Weapon motion blur and world motion blur, you want this off. You don't want any sort of blur, especially in a competitive game like this. When it comes to audio settings, you want your master volume set to 100. You want the dialogue volume set to 100 so you can hear if there's airstrikes or UAVs or anything like that going up in the air. Sound effects, of course, you want 100. Hit marker volume, I've got this set to default. I think it's pretty okay at 75. You could put this to 100 as well if you really want to. I've got the sound effects set to Vanguard standard. Boost low is the best audio mix for Call of Duty games in general, so this is what I've been using to hear footsteps better. And then we have killstreak music off, and then we've got mono audio off as well. Everything else is going to be personal preference for what you'd like to have for your voice chat. Then for interface, we've got the standard settings here. If you do need subtitles, you can put that on, of course. Text chat, we've got all. We've just pretty much got this all set to standard. Besides minimap shape, you do want to set that on square. Minimap rotation, you do want on as well. So there we have it. Those are the best settings for Call of Duty Vanguard, the alpha. And if you want to see gameplay of this game, make sure you subscribe to our second channel. We'll be posting gameplay over there as well. And thank you very much for watching.